Hi guys, welcome to Kipper Cards Level 1, Lesson 1. This is our Pay It Forward to the Universe, our free course for anybody who's wanting to start with the Kipperkarten, our lovely German system. We are going to be looking at the meanings today. If you don't know me, I'm Toni. I'm founder of World Divination, also known as the Card Geek on social media, and author of the Card Geek's Guide to Kipper, and author of the Siren Song, Lenormand, and Kipper deck and book that is out with RedWheel Weisser. We're going to take a look at the Kipper cards, look at this situational deck, see how easy it is to use, and learn all the basics you need to start reading today. This is a little piece of Kipper history. This is the original Kipper deck that was brought out. As you see, it is beautifully, beautifully old. And this is the original Kipper deck. If you don't know much about the Kipper deck, what you may not realize is the first ever edition of this deck was brought out in this format. We then saw in the early 20th century, we saw a change where all the cards, except one, all the cards were transposed to face in their opposite direction. As you can see, the two male cards facing back to back, the two women transposed in their position. The only card that wasn't transposed was the military person, number 22. All others have the direct opposite directional quality than the original. This will come important when you start reading with Kipper, because the first thing that you need to become used to, and I'll show you a few of these, the first thing you need to become used to is the directional qualities within your deck. So to speak about the meanings today, I have a 1920s version and then the original version, but in a format I cannot ruin. So the first thing that we look at is what directional qualities does your deck have? Is your man facing to the left or is he facing to the right? Same with your ladies. This will become important as we follow the course along. But for today, we're mainly looking at the meanings of these cards. So let me bring my deck in. And this course does have a rather large handout. So if you want to have a look at the group, World Kipper Association on Facebook, or on our Teachable website, where all our courses are, you will find the handout for this. You will also find a comprehensive meanings list for each of the cards listed within the deck. So the first two cards within the deck are our people cards. These are classed as our significators, our people, the querent and their partner, or their querent and their significant other within the deck. The female querents will either face left or right, and the male querent will face left or right. They do not have another meaning within the deck except for distinguishing the querent and their significant other. If you are reading for a same-sex relationship, please make sure that you use these cards for the querent and their partner. Do not assign sex to them. Just take one for the querent and one for the partner. The reason for that is with the directional qualities of the Kipper deck, if you don't use these, then you are downgrading the relationship. So we always stick to our significator cards. And if you prefer to use a name for same-sex readings, significator 1 and significator 2, or main character 1 and main character 2. So we start out with the males. And then main character 2 is the counterpart. And then we move into our meanings. The number 3 card is the state of marriage. In the original instructions, it teaches us if this card falls before, so in front of card 1 or 2, it means a good marriage. If it's behind the card, then it can suggest a separation of 2 lovers. And right on number 1 meaning, this is when we get into those directional importance of the Kipper cards. So our lady is facing to the right. Ahead of her, it would signal a good relationship. Behind her back, a difficult relationship, and can mean separation. Similarly with the man, in front of his face, where he's looking straight into it, that becomes a decent marriage, and behind his back, it becomes a more troublesome or difficult one. So each of the cards, or a lot of the cards, will come with this extra information of what it means in front of their face versus what it means behind their back. So state of marriage speaks of unity, it speaks of union, and it speaks of the state of the union. The next card is the convene card. As you see, we have 2 people sitting on the sofa. This is the card of togetherness. In the original instructions, it means joy, happiness, and harmony. It's the kind of togetherness, the harmony that you get when you are hanging out with people that you love. Speaks of hanging out, could speak of going to conferences with like-minded people, but it will always speak of a positive time with those people unless it's surrounded by difficult cards. Number 5 is when we get into the people, and tomorrow we're going to look at the people cards and the family tree of the Kipper deck. But for now, Good Gent is an older gent. He's the older generation, or a more senior, if we're talking in workplace, generation to the querent. In the original instructions, we are taught that he brings good news when nearby and when he doesn't have difficult cards around. He will be a mentor. He will be a support. He could be your father. He could be your boss. He's always that senior disposition to the querent. And his partner is good lady. Similarly, she is an older lady, somebody of a senior generation to the querent, or a senior position to the querent. We're told in the original instructions that if this card lands in front of, so the querent is looking at good lady, it means the same joy in every relationship. So she is a joyous card when placed in front of or ahead of a querent. The moment she falls behind, and you can see here she's falling behind both people, we're talking about a relative or somebody, like I say, of a senior position who is causing annoyance. So you can see she becomes a difficult person behind the querent's back. The next card in the Kipper deck is Pleasant Letter. Pleasant Letter speaks of all kinds of communication. It generally is positive news or positive communication when it is placed in front of or ahead of the querent card. When it falls behind their back, we're told that we can expect slander, grief, and worry. So any kind of negative press or negative communication can be shown when it sits behind their back. Dishonesty then is the next card in the deck. In the original German, it's called falsche Person, which means wrong person or dishonest person. We don't refer to it as a person card. We refer to it as the core essence of dishonesty. We're told in the original instructions that when it falls close to the significator cards, it means misfortune and danger. Further away from their card, it's still a nasty card and speaks of betrayal. So the dishonesty card is a nasty card. It brings anything that's wrong within a situation forth. Change is the next card within the Kipper deck, and I would like you to note the directions at which your change card moves. In the original, it moved, the horse and cart moved from right to left, whereas in the 1920s version, it moves from left to right. This comes in important just further down the line in your Kipper reading. We're told that a change of abode will come soon if it's landing close to our significator cards. So the closer that change sits to our significator cards, the more quick and the larger usually the move is or the change is. We have another card then suggesting movement, and that is our journey card. Another card you should note the directional cues on. Journey generally means a happy journey, going somewhere, having a great time. It is highly influenced by the cards around it, which will tell you what type of journey it is. For example, with a negative cards around, it will suggest that the journey is a difficult one. With good cards around, the journey will go smoothly. The next card in the deck is Win Lots. Win Lots is our card to receive money in. It's in the original instructions speaks of receiving great wealth through fortunate undertakings. So the closer this is to the querent, the more fortunate that money coming in will be. Win Lots generally isn't a surprise wealth. It's usually a wealth that we are expecting to come in despite its name of winning. It's about that money that you are expecting coming into you through work that you have done. Could be a bonus, could be a salary, for example. And that's important because we do have another money card within the deck. We then have more people, and this is the younger generations or somebody who is inferior in the workplace to you. And I only mean by job title. It can speak of colleagues, can speak of a sister, can speak of friends. It is the female counterpart to the next card, rich gent. So we have a rich girl and a rich gent. Rich girl is happy-go-lucky and will speak of having a happy life, doing things that you really, really enjoy. If she has negative cards around, she becomes negative herself. Her attitude changes, her demeanor changes. And it can show family issues or issues with whoever you are speaking to. Like I say, it could be a colleague too. So behind their back, she can be quite bitchy. And with negative cards around, will bring some kind of either gossip or negativity with her. Rich gent is very similar. He's a younger generation too. And again, we'll be looking at these tomorrow. Rich Gent is the counterpart to Rich Girl, and Rich Gent brings good news. He's a motivated. Think of somebody, a young gentleman in his 20s, really trying to push in the workplace, striving to make his world a better one. Again, he is very much like Rich Girl in that when he's in a negative position or he has negative cards around us, he becomes extremely competitive then, and his worst qualities will come out. The next card is Sad News. And the Sad News card actually depicts a widow receiving bad news after war. So it literally is extremely negative news coming in. It's also suggested that unpleasantness will come with it. So it is a card, whereas the pleasant letter will bring good tidings, the sad news card will bring sad tidings. We then have Good Outcome in Love, number 15. Good Outcome in Love is a beautiful card, and we can say that whatever happens, it will go well. It is a good outcome card. It's not just for love, even though it's called Good Outcome in Love. It is also a good outcome in anything. We are told in the original instructions, if number 8, which is the dishonesty card, lands close to this card, we will deal with obstacles and deceit. So on its own and with good cards surrounding, it's a positive outcome to any situation. If number 8, the dishonesty card, is nearby, it definitely means there is wrongness or deceit within the situation. The next card is one of the most beautiful cards in the Kipper deck. It's called His Thoughts. And what you have to think of is the time at which the Kipper cards were released, the climate of the time, and why people came for readings. They didn't necessarily be so open and out there regarding their relationships. And His Thoughts refers to the thoughts of the person that you are interested in. It's what we call our romance card. And it tells you whether the person you are interested in has good thoughts about you or whether they have negative thoughts. We're told that if this card lands with good cards around, their thoughts are positive towards you. However, if we have the dishonesty card, for example, or sad news, court, theft, prison, or court official nearby, and all these are in the instructions I've given you, then they are not good. So there's certain cards you look out for to make sure the thoughts of that other person are good. If you're not reading on romance or don't want to apply the romance, you may be asking about work or career. It speaks of thoughts, it speaks of plans, it speaks of really consciously planning the next steps. So number 17 next is a card that is always positive. This is our gift card. It shows a gift coming into your querent, something coming to the table of your querent. Can literally be a gift, could be an offer, could be just a compliment even on your day. But it's always a positive card, even when it lands in a difficult position. We then have the child card, which is the youngest generation. It's called Infant, ein Kleinkind in the original instructions. And it does speak of becoming pregnant, a child in the mix for example. However, if your querent doesn't have a child, is not wanting to get pregnant, or you're talking about a theme that's work, for example, you're talking about new possibilities, new things starting. Child is very much like rich girl in that it will be greatly influenced by negative cards around it, and also greatly influenced when it is sitting back to back. The child becomes then a card of tantrums, throwing your toys out of the pen, or even possibly being quite naive, the negative connotations of being childlike. 19 then is a difficult card. It is our Fatality card. In your deck, I would like you to check out the directional qualities of this card. It is the most directional within the Kipper deck. I'm not asking you to do anything with that. Just be aware of how your coffin sits within it. We're told that if this card lands close to a significator, there will be a fatality within the family. What we have to remember is that not every single GT that you do will fatality mean the death of somebody. It will be the death of a situation, perhaps coming to an end, even a relationship coming to an end. But it signifies ending. It does not signify transformation. For example, it is a negative card, and every deck needs one in order to speak about the more difficult parts in life. We're also told with the fatality deck, fatality card, that if living room, which is number 21, we'll come to it shortly, lands nearby, an immediate fatality or an immediate ending is foreseen. House is our next one, number 20. And House is a beautiful card. It speaks of fortune and blessing in everything that you do. So it is a good omen card for any undertaking, whether that be business, whether it be hobby, whether it be relationship. If House falls, it is a successful sign, a fortunate blessing sign. Naturally, it can speak of a building, a house, and we do have different building types within the Kipper cards. The house can also speak of the neighborhood in which you live. The next card then is another building card, but we're going inside the house to the living room. And living room are our internal private quarters. It is anywhere that is intimately yours, whether that be your bedroom, whether it be literally your living room, or it could be your small corner of the universe while you are at work. It speaks of internal, somewhere internal. But it is also our card for immediate. And we're told in the original instructions that if living room falls near your significator cards, it shows something is coming in quickly. The cards around it, if they're positive, will show a good situation coming in quickly. If they're negative, it will show a bad situation coming in quickly. So it is our card for immediate entry in your life. Military person then is a person card, but one that is often also his core meaning. He's referred to as a friend or a relation in the original instructions. However, he is military in nature, whether that is he is uniformed or she is uniformed. A uniformed person can speak of professions that require a uniform, for example, a doctor, So anything uniformed. But he, in his core essence, he brings in military precision to everything that he does. He is a man of the law also, because he, in the original instructions, we're told when a military person comes in with the legal cards, which we'll see shortly, that impending legals are going to occur. So he is an official person, or he is bringing officialness into the querent's life, whether that be following rules and regulations, or whether that be standing up for what we believe in, for example. Our first legal card then is the court card, and this is another building card. The court card promises that legal proceedings will be experienced. When it's ahead of our querent, it will fall in their favor. So it will be a positive outcome on a legal matter for them. When it's sat behind their back, it will fall against them. So it will be a difficult decision or hearing. Court generally is out of our hands. So it's any situation that is out of our hands where someone else is making a decision on the situation. And again, if it falls in front, it falls in our favor. If it falls behind, then it falls against us. Oops, here. Theft then. Theft is a card of loss. It is a card of literal theft. And when it falls in front of the significator, we are told that we will recover the loss. So it won't be as bad. A theft is still a theft. It's still a loss. It's still something taken, something lost. But when it's ahead of our querent, we should be able to recover that loss. When it's behind or far away, then we shan't be recovering the damages. High Honors next, another building card. It is a beautiful card. High Honors promises that we will get the recognition that we deserve. It doesn't mean that we get free recognition. It means we get to the recognition that we actually deserve. So it can speak of promotion, can speak of working at an elevated level. If you go to university, for example, the High Honors card may be gaining your degree. So it is a card of literal high honors. It's also quite useful when we're using big spreads, because high honors, when falling away from the main characters, it makes everything around it true. So if the querent is seeking the truth in a situation, the high honors card is the one that we are looking for. The trump card of the deck is next, which is Great Fortune. Great Fortune promises that unexpected great fortune is coming soon. So amazingness, which is unexpected, is coming to your doorstep in any area of life. It is what we call the trump card in the deck. It does shine its light a little on the other cards around. We then have unexpected money. And when I said about us having a certain amount of money cards within the deck, win-lots was the first, unexpected money is the second. It speaks of sudden great joy. So if we're speaking financials coming in, that would be more a lottery win than the income of the win-lots. It is unexpected. It's not something we've worked for. It is a surprise. It is also often referred to as the karmic card, a card that shows when your karma is paying off in a positive way. Card 28 then is Erwartung, which is expectation. The original instructions speak of deepest expectation or aspiration. It's something that we are dreaming of, something that we are looking forward to doing, something that we wait patiently for. One day this will come to us. That is the expectation card. Prison then is another one of our legal buildings. Prison actually speaks of accidents or family secrets being revealed. If you think of what a prison is and how proceedings could be quite surprising, then you'll understand why the prison card is referred to as that. It is the biggest building card that we have in the deck, and will refer to campuses, for example, huge businesses or council even buildings, official buildings. Prison, if we take the literal meaning of what a prison is, can also be extremely restrictive. But at its core, it is an accident, or it is sudden information coming to light of a negative manner. Court official is another official person now, and court official speaks of bad news coming in. We already have sad news. So this isn't the same as sad news just coming to your doorstep. The court official generally means it's a process that you have to deal with that you don't want to deal with. For example, if you need your passport, you will go to the council buildings or wherever, apply for your passport and go through that proceedings. The process of the court official is one generally that we don't want to do, but it is a necessary evil in order to get through to the outcome that we are wanting. We then have illness, which literally speaks of illness. Hopefully only a short one if you have positive cards around. Extremely worrying when it lands close to the Fatality card, which is our doom and gloom card. We then have Kummer und Widerwärtigkeiten, which is sorrow and unpleasantness. You see him wandering with his hand over his head, stressing as he walks forward and backwards. We're told it is a card that brings sorrow. It's a card that brings unpleasantness. Generally means a whole heap of stress and just feeling downright down about it. The next card is a very similar card, but a step worse. This is Gloomy Thoughts. So after the stress, when you're trying to figure out what you're going to do about this, comes the time where you sit down, put your hands in your head and say, I just can't do this anymore. That is the Gloomy Thoughts card. It is a very negative, depressive card that really takes the shine out of any situation. We're told that if number 26, which is great outcome, our trump card is nearby, then it will have a favorable outcome. But if it's not nearby, it is going to promise misery, basically, to your querent. We then have our work, job and occupation, even hobbies card, number 34, work. It promises employment or a good outcome in business when it's close to our querent card. It is the card for work. We then have a long way. This is another one that you should look for the directional qualities of within your deck. A long way is our long-term card. It always means a long distance, a long time, something. We actually apply a 2-year time scale to this card. So it is that stretched out, anything that takes an inordinate amount of time to do will be covered by that long way, or like I say, a long distance. And then we have the lovely Hope Great Water. The original instructions say hope will turn to joy, happiness, and blessing in great abundance, especially if card 26, which is the trump card, Great Fortune, is nearby. It can speak of distant lands. It can speak of, especially with that one together, can speak of far away. But it generally speaks of hope and blessing. So whatever you do, it's like the end goal. You've got what you want when you have the Hope Great Water card. You have achieved what you want to achieve in that respect. It's a lot of information, and like I say, there is a document in the group for you with meanings and an exercise for today. I would like you to take one card out of the deck and apply it to your day, but if you see the document, all the instructions are in there. I would like to thank you for joining us here at World Divination. I hope you enjoy your Kipper cards. Please post in the Facebook group, World Kipper Association. Tag me in and I will be happy to have a look at your reads. Until then, I will see you also tomorrow with lesson 2, where we're looking at the Kipper family tree.